pedal I'd like to show you right now is an Electro Harmonix electric Mistress. Right here, this is the original version of the Mistress, the one that runs on the two 9-volt batteries, as opposed to the more common mains powered deluxe electric Mistress. And this one first appeared approximately 1976, and I'm not sure if it was the first production flanger, but it's certainly one of the earliest and one of the nicest sounding. And in fact, this is the type of electric Mistress that was used by Andy Summers in The Police, and also Dave Gilmour in Pink Floyd. Well, first what I've done is I've placed the original electric Mistress right next door to the deluxe version, which came a year later or so. The deluxe one obviously is the mains powered one and a lot more common. These are slightly less common, but the controls are pretty much the same. You've got a mechanical foot switch, a rate, a range and colour control on each of them. Both have the filter matrix switch across the top there, which freezes the flange sweep and lets you adjust it manually using the range control, which we'll hear a little bit later on. This has a simple input and output configuration there. The deluxe one has input direct out, which is the dry signal, and flanged out, and that's pretty much the only difference as far as the layout's concerned on these two flanges. This one though, the original, as I've said, uses two 9-volt batteries, and what we're going to do now is take it apart and have a quick look inside at a few little things that I'd like to show you. So here's what the electric Mistress looks like if you remove the back and have a look inside. This one's had the power supply socket changed for the more standard Boss type barrel style, which is a little bit more practical and more reliable than the original one, which wasn't very good quality. Now, as you can see, there's two battery clips in here, and this pedal requires two 9-volt batteries to run. However, it doesn't require the total 18 volts, because what happens with the 18-volt signal from the two batteries, it runs through a voltage regulator, and the circuit actually only requires 12 volts. So it's worth remembering that if you're going to mains it up, you don't need an 18-volt adapter, you just need a 12-volt. If you use an 18-volt adapter, it'll simply pass through the voltage regulator and then get dropped down to 12, and then it'll go into the circuit. So no need to hunt down an 18-volt adapter if you want to use this pedal and mains power it. Just take a look in here at these two trim pots as well. Another bit of good advice: if you have a flanger like this and it works fine, it sounds good, don't adjust the trim pots. There's absolutely no need, and there's nothing to be gained from adjusting the trim pots. In fact, if you adjust this one too far, you can send the flanger into self-oscillation, and you run the danger of blowing the voltage regulator I've just mentioned, which means you break the flanger and you completely kill it. You need to get it repaired. And actually, if the three pedals like this that I own, two of them had blown voltage regulators and I had to repair them, so best to leave them alone. On the other hand, if you buy one of these and you find that it seems to be overloading slightly at the input stage, you can try adjusting this one to the right by a couple of millimeters, and sometimes that'll get rid of unwanted distortion. So, but if you don't need to adjust them, just leave the trim pots alone. So what I'm going to do now then is reassemble. Oh, sorry, I've forgotten something. Down here is a modification I've made, which gets rid of the typical volume loss you get with this flanger when it's stock. That means the bypass signal sounds fine when you turn it on, the flanger sounds great, but there's a slight loss of volume. There's a small mod you can do here. I'm going to give you a close-up and try and explain it. So I'm going to try and do a close-up of that volume drop modification, which solves the problem of the flanger being too quiet. There's a 0.22 microfarad capacitor there and a 10k resistor. I've used a tantalum type capacitor. Both are wired on the back of the circuit board, paralleled with stuff underneath, and that gets rid of the volume drop, so it's well worth doing that. So after all that now, I think it's time to plug it in. We'll have a listen to the electric Mistress, and I'm also going to bring in, we'll hear it clean first, and I'm going to bring in a ram's head big muff. So hope you enjoy it, the electric Mistress.